Day 429 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 1865, finding pairs with a certain sum. The difficulty level is medium, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. You are given two integer arrays nums1 and nums2. You are tasked to implement a data structure that supports queries of two types. Add a positive integer to an element of a given index in the array nums and count the number of pairs I and j such that nums1 of I plus nums2 of j equals a given value where 0 is less than or equal to I and I is less than nums1.length and 0 is less than or equal to j and j is less than nums2.length. Implement the find some pairs class. Find some pairs initializes the find some pairs object with two integer arrays nums1 and nums2. The add function adds vals to nums2 index, i.e. apply nums2 index plus equals val, and the count function returns the number of pairs I and j such that nums1 of I plus nums2 of j equals the total. So that can seem very confusing at first, y'all, and I understand how that can seem very confusing. So let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just to make sure that we're doing this problem correctly. Now, first thing what threw me off was I realized that, oh, well, let's just get into it. So first we have our input. So let me just do this. Let me copy and paste this over here. Boom, just like this. Copy and paste that so we could go through what's actually going on and how this actually works. Sorry, y'all, we'll do this. This is nums1 and nums2 right here. Boom, bring that over here, and then we're gonna copy and paste these as well. Boom, let's see, we're gonna bring these right over here. Boom, so we can see what's going on. So when we go through the input, so first we have the input. It gives us, first we initialize the function, then we call count, then we call add, then we call count, then we call count, then we call add, then we call add, then we call count, right? And we're calling these functions right here with this on this input right here. We got an output which was null 8, null 2, 1, null 11. So let's go through this so we can let's go through these explanations so we can make it make sense and we can understand exactly what it is that they want us to do. Now, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show y'all. So this we're just initializing the class, right? This is not going to return anything. That's why we have a null here. Then, so boom. So I'll show y'all over here for visual representation. Boom. So that's going to initialize it. We initialize it. Boom. Then we're going to call count, right? We're calling count. We're going to call count on this 7, right? Or the sum that we're looking for is this 7 right here. So we're going to call count. We're trying to reach 7. We're trying to find a sum that equals 7, or we're trying to count all of the pairs actually that equal 7, right? So this count corresponds with this 7. This is the number of pairs that we're trying to find that equals 7. So now we'll go look at the explanation so we can see what it did, right? So we're calling find some pairs, count 7. So that's what is count 7 right here. Boom. So there are 8 pairs. That's why output is 8, because there are 8 pairs that we could find in this array by adding elements in this array to adding elements in this array that will equal 7, right? That's what calling count 7 means. We want to find how many pairs in this array can we add to, or how many elements in this array can we add to elements in this array to equal 7, and those will be our pairs. So let's go through them. So we call find some pairs, count 7, we return 8. These are the pairs right here. These are the pairs right here. Boom. So first we could do 2 and 2. So this 2 and 2 is index 2 and 2. So we come to index 2. index 1, 0, 1, 2. We have a 2. So this is nums 1. This is nums 2. So we have a 2 in nums 1. Boom. Well, let me just do it over here so y'all could really see what's going on, because it's important to understand the question if you want to understand the solution. So first, boom, it says we have 2, 2. So when we add 2, index 2 plus index 2, that's going to equal 2 plus 5, which equals 7, which is what we want. Boom, that's our first pair. Then we're going to do index 3 and index 2. So once again, we come right here just so we can see. Index 2, 3 and 2, that's going to equal, so we come 0, 1, 2, 3. This is index 3, then 2 again, we're back at index 5. Once again, that's 2 plus 5, that's going to equal 7. Boom, so that's our second pair. Then we're doing 4 and 2, right? Because that's the next pair. So 4 and 2, boom, boom, boom. This is 4, same thing, 2 again. Index 2, so we come right here just so y'all can see 4, 2. That's going to equal 2 plus 5 again. That's going to equal 7. Boom. Then we're going to do, after 4 and 2, we have 2 and 4. So now we have 2 and 4, so we come 0, 1, 2, index 2. Oh, sorry, let me just put this here for y'all first. So we have 2, comma 4. So we come right here, index 2 plus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once again, that's going to be 2 plus 5. That's equals 7. Then we have 3 and 4, right? So we come 0, 1, 2, 3. We have this 3 and this 5 again. So once again, 3 and 4 is going to be 3, comma 4. That is going to be 2 plus 5 again. Sorry, y'all. Let me just at least line it up for y'all. That's going to be 2 plus 5. That equals 7. Boom. Then after that, we have 4 and 4. So we have index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to, or my bad. Let me just do this 4, comma 4. So that's going to be the same thing though. Equals 2. It's going to be this 2 this time plus this 5. So it's going to be 2 plus 5. And that is going to equal 7. Then we have 5 and 1 and 5 and 5. So when we come here, we have 0, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, my bad, y'all. Keep forgetting to put this here for y'all so you can see. So we have 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be equal to 3. Then we have index 1, 5 and 1, right? So it's 0, 1. So that's going to be 3 plus 4. That's going to equal 7. And then finally, but last but not least, we have 5 and 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be 3. So we come right here, 5, comma 5. That's going to equal 3. Plus we're doing 5 and 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, that is 3 plus 4. That equals 7. Boom. And these in total, now we have to count the pairs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's how we got this output 8 when we call find some pairs, count 7. So when we call count, and what we're looking for is 7. That's how we get 8, because these are 8 pairs. When we have 8 pairs that equal 7, that we can create from adding elements in this array to elements in this array. Boom. So that's how we got there. Boom. So now we get rid of this. Boom. And then we call count 7. So we past that, we could just get rid of this as well, just so make it easier on the eye so we can understand where we're at. So now we have to add function with 3 and 2, right? So where we at right here? Find some pairs, add 3 and 2, right? So now nums 2 equals an array of integers 1, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. How do we get this? We came to index 3 in nums 2. So we come 0, 1, 2, 3. We come to index 3, and then we add 2, right? So we come to index 3, we come to index 3 in nums 2, that's this 3, and then we add 2 to it, right? So now this 2, we add 2 to this 2, and now this 2 becomes a 4. Boom. We could just mark it as null. All we did was modify the array. We didn't have to return anything. So now this becomes 4. Boom. Then, so we could get rid of this add. We could get rid of this right here and get rid of this right here. Now remember, we're just moving down the lines, right? So we were here with this. Now we're doing count on 8, right? Boom, right here, count and 8. That's how I do it. We're doing it. We're just moving down this line, and that's corresponding with these right here. Boom. These two arrays are nums1 and nums2, and these are the values that we are inputting when we're calling these functions. So let's keep going. So now we're at count 8, right? So we count 8. So there's only 2 pairs that make 8, right? So we're calling a count. That means we want to find elements in this array that we can add to this array that will equal this 8 right here, right? And there's only 2 pairs. So it says the 2 pairs are 5 and 2. So we could just say 5, 2. So 5 and 2 is going to get us 0, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is going to, that is going to get us 3 plus 0, 1, 2, 3 plus 5. And which that is going to equal 8. And then the next pair is 5 and 4. So it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. 5, 4. That's going to equal 3. That's index 5. Plus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again, that's 3 plus 5. And that is going to equal 8 as well. And those are the only 2 pairs that we can create that will equal this 8, right? Those are the only 2 elements in this array that we can add to this array that will equal 8, right? When we call this count function on 8 with 8. So we just return 2 because there's only 2 pairs. Boom. Then let's keep going now. We already called count on 8, so we get rid of this just so we don't lose track of where we are. Now we're calling count on 4. Boom. So where we at? Down here. Right here. So we find some pairs, count 4s, return 1 pair. So there's only 1 pair, index 5 and index 0. So once again, come over here, 5, 0. That's going to equal 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to equal 3 plus 1. Index 0 is 1, so 3 plus 1. That's going to equal 4. That's what we want. Boom, count 4. This is our only pair. We only have 1 pair, so we could return a 1 right here. That's where this 1 comes from. Boom. Now we could get rid of this. Sorry, y'all. Get rid of this. Boom. And then we also could get rid of this so we don't lose track of where we are. Boom. So now we're calling add on 0, index 0. We're adding 1. So come over here just to make sure. Find some pairs. We're adding 0 and 1. Now nums2 equals 2, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. So what we do, we come to, when we call this add, when we call add on this, we come to index 0. We add 1 to it because that's where this 1. So we come to index 0 and nums2 and we add 1 to it. So this is index 0. We're going to add 1 to it and now it becomes this. Boom, just like it says right here. Boom. Now we did that. We could get rid of this and we could just return null because we're not returning anything, just modifying the function. So we could get rid of this. Boom. Boom. So now we just have to call one more add and one more count. So now we're going to call add on 1 and 1, right? So where we at? Find some pairs, add 1, 1. Now nums2 becomes 2, 5, 5, 4, 5, 4, right? So we come with this, we call an add on this. So that means we come to index 1 and nums2 and we add 1 to it. So boom, index 0, index 1, we're going to add 1 to it, right? And now that 4 becomes a 5, just like it is right here. Boom. So we called that, and we're going to return null just because we didn't do anything. Boom. And then we'll finally, last but not least, we're going to call count again. This time we want count to be 7. But remember, you might think we already called count on 7, got 8. But remember, we have changed, we have modified this array over here. So now there are going to be 7 new pairs. And we're not going to go through all 11 pairs. There are 11 pairs right here. If you've been following along this whole time, that's what I want y'all to do on your own. If you feel like it, just see if you could figure out the 11 pairs on your own. Just by what I've just shown you, you could figure out how they got these 11 pairs. They give you the 11 pairs right here. So these are the 11 pairs. And once again, each one of these pairs corresponds to an index in nums1 and an index in nums2. Boom, just so you can see, we could do the first one. So the first one would be index 2 in nums1 and index 1 in nums2. So we come 0, 1, 2, or we just see, just so y'all can see. Boom, so we come to index 2. So that would be 2 plus, then we come to 1. That would be this 5, 2 plus 5. And that's going to equal our 7 that we want right here. Boom. And then if y'all want to, you could go through the rest of these pairs. We're not going to do that this time just because I want y'all to know how to get some practice on your own too as well. Even though you just need to understand what's going on. You don't really have to do it all out yourself, especially if you've been following along through this whole example with me. But yeah, that's how it works. That's how they got this 11 right here. Once again, these are the 11 pairs. And now that we understand the question, y'all, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution is not that difficult to understand as the question was at all. So I hope you're excited about that. Now, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a hash map to count the occurrences of numbers in nums1. So for that, we come right here, declare a variable, we call it hash, and we're going to say colon, open up the square brackets, int, it's going to be a key is going to be an int, the value is going to be an int, sorry y'all. Then we're going to initialize it with a blank dictionary like this, boom. Then we're going to come right here and we're going to store nums1 as a constant, right? So we're just going to say let nums1 equal an array of integers. Boom, put the parentheses, or you don't need any parentheses right here. Then we're going to store nums2 as a variable array since it can be modified. So since we're going to be modifying nums2, right, when we call these add functions, then we're going to store it as a variable so we can modify it. So we're going to say var nums2. We're going to set that equal to an array of integers as well. We don't need to initialize it with parentheses because we're initializing it right here. Boom. Now we're going to initialize nums1 and nums2. So we're going to say for num and nums2, we're going to open up the brackets and we're going to say hash square bracket num comma default colon 0, come outside of that, say plus equals 1. Then we're going to come underneath this, we're going to say self dot nums1. We're going to set that equal to nums1, and we're going to say self dot nums2. We're going to set that equal to nums2, just like that, y'all. Boom, that's it for the init. Then we need to do our add function, right? And this is going to update our frequency map. So first we need to decrease the count of the old value in the hash map. So we're going to come right here. We're going to say hash square bracket num2, or excuse me, what I say, that should be, yeah, nums, sorry, this should be nums2, sorry, but nums2, or we could just do it like this. Yeah, that should work though. That should be nums2. Or nah, we get rid of these s's, y'all, just because it could get a little bit confusing. So we'll just call it num1 and then num2. So we say hash, open up the square bracket num2, then we're going to pass in index, open up the square brackets again, we're going to say num2 index, come outside those square brackets, still inside the other ones, we're going to say default colon 0, come outside of that, we're going to say plus equals 1. Actually, sorry y'all, minus equals 1. Then we're going to update the element in num2, so we're going to say num2 square bracket index plus equals val. Oh, come outside the square brackets plus equals val. Then we're going to say increase the count of the new value in the hash maps by saying hash square bracket num2 square bracket index comma default colon 0 plus equals 1. Boom. Now we're not done yet. We need to count. We need to do our count function, which is going to count the number of pairs that equal our total that we're looking for. So for that, we're going to say first we come in this function, declare a variable called, we could call it final CNT for final count, and we'll set that equal to 0 to start. Then we're going to iterate through each element in num1. So we're going to say for num and num1, open up the brackets, and we're going to find if there exists a num2 element that equals the total, right? So if yes, we're going to add it to the frequency from the hash map to the count. Or we're going to add its frequency from the hash map to the count. So we're going to say if let temp CNT for temp count equals hash square bracket TOT minus num. Then we're going to open up this bracket and we're going to say final CNT plus equals TMP count. So final count plus temp count. Then we could just come right here and say return final count or CNT. That should be all she wrote, y'all. Let's go ahead and give it a run before we submit it. Okay, we have an error already. What does it say? Error expected name. Let's see. Okay, y'all. So let's see where we went wrong here. Maybe should this be back? I don't know. Let's try this. Let's see if that does it. Okay, so sorry y'all. This got to be a colon, not a equal sign. Boom. All right, so now let's run to see if that works. Hopefully that did the trick. Okay, we're not there yet. Cannot find hash. Oh, this should be hash. Let's run it again. Let's see. Okay, now what? Self num1. May only be initialized once. Okay, so sorry y'all, this should be outside of the for loop, not inside the for loop. Sorry y'all, sorry about that. That should do the trick though. Now let's run it. See what we got next. And it's accepted, y'all. So let's go ahead and submit this. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. And look at that, y'all. 173 milliseconds beats 100% of users. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the numbers I like to see, y'all. So with that being said, get one more look at the code. This the top part right here. Boom. This the bottom part right here. And yeah, y'all, I hope y'all learned something today. And I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.